Next question. Consider following information. ABC Limited has capital structure consisting of equity and debt in the following proportion. So information is given about a capital structure of a company which is consisting of the 60% equity and 40% debt. The company is considering to accept project A and then project B. So the company will accept the A project and then B project. Project A requires capital investment of rupees 1 lakh, while project B requires a capital investment of rupees 3 lakhs. So the amount of the funds required by both the projects are different. For A it is 1 lakh and for B it is 3 lakhs. Expected retained earning are rupees 60,000. So the company is expected to retain 60,000. Cost of retained earning and cost of new equity issue is 20% and 22% respectively. So KR is 20 and KE is 22. Rate of interest for debenture issue is 15% and income tax rate is 40%. Calculate KD. KD stands for cost of debenture. Weighted average cost of capital for project A. Weighted average cost of capital for project B. Amount of the capital investment beyond which new equity share capital is required to be issued, and amount of capital investment beyond which weighted average cost of capital will change. That is the question. I request all of you to go through the question and answer me in the chat box first part of the question and second part of the question. So friends, over here the first part of the question says that say compute the cost of debt financing. So write an answer. First question, KD. It is a rate of interest into 1 minus tax rate. What is the rate of interest? Rate of interest is provided to us in the question as 15%. What is income tax rate? 40%. 15% into 0.6, that comes to 9%. This is the way the KD is calculated. Second question. The question says that a compute weighted average cost of capital for project A. So in that write down, that is heading write down, calculation of weighted average cost of capital of project A. In that write down, working note number 1, calculation of pattern of raising funds. See, the question is providing that say we require an amount of rupees 1 lakh, that is divided into two parts. We have been given that say equity is 60% and debt is 40%. So equity is 60,000 and debt is 40,000. Dear students, equity is again divided into two parts. One is we understand as retained earning component and another is new issue component. Retained earning and new issue. Language of the question speaks that the company expects to have retained earning of exactly 60,000. Oh, that's really a coincidence. We require equity financing 60,000 and retained earning is again 60,000. So of course there is no issue required, new issue required. So now calculation of weighted average cost of capital of a project. Column number 1, source of finance. Column number 2 is amount. Third column is weight. Fourth column is cost. Weight into cost. So it is retained earning and debt financing. Retained earning is 60,000. Debt financing is 40,000. So weight is zero point 0.6 and zero point 0.4. 60,000 divided by 1 lakh. And 40,000 divided by 1 lakh once again. Multiplying with the cost of capital. Retained earning has a cost of 20% and debt financing is having a cost of 9%. So what we will have, it is weight into cost. So it is zero point 0.6 into 20. It is 12. Zero point 0.4 into 9. It is 3.6. So weighted average or overall cost of capital is 15.6%. I request you to write down answer for weighted average cost of capital for project A, and I request you to put answer for the third question in the chat box. Weighted average cost of capital for project B. So answer of the third question. Heading right down. Weighted average cost of capital of project B. In that write down working note number 1. Calculation of pattern of raising funds. Okay. So in that the total amount is provided to us in the question, an amount of 3 lakhs. Again it will have the bifurcation. The question has already provided to us information about the optimum capital structure. Equity is an amount of rupees 1,80,000. It is 3 lakhs into zero point 0.6. The remaining is debt. Debt is 1,20,000. That is 3 lakhs into zero point 0.4. That is the way we are required to bifurcate. Now as far as the equity is concerned, that would be divided further between retained earning and new issue. Retained earning and new issue. Dear students, over here, what happened that the company had a retained earning of 60,000. It is completely used in project A because language of the question is very clear. the company is considering to accept project A and then project B. So we are going to completely make investment in A and then B, and in making investment in A project, the entire retained earning is exhausted. So the amount of the retained earning that we have is now zero because entire 60,000 was used. So new issue will be rupees 1,80,000. This is the way we'll make the calculation of the equity and debt, its proportion, and based on that the weighted average cost of capital. So I request all of you to write down this working note number 1, and based on that calculation of weighted average cost of capital of project B. Source of finance, amount, weight, slash proportion, cost, weight into proportion, weight into cost. Source of finance, new equity share capital and debt financing. 180, 120, and the total will be 3 lakhs. 180 upon 3 lakhs is zero point 0.6. 120 upon 3 lakhs is zero point 0.4. Multiplying with the respective cost. For equity it is 22 and for debt it is 9. This is the way we are required to compute the answer. So 22 into zero point 0.6 and 9 into zero point 0.4. 13.2, 3.6, 16.8. That is the way overall cost of capital will be calculated for project B, and this is the rate at which we have to earn from the B project. Fourth question. The question speaks that what is the amount of the capital investment beyond which new equity share capital is required to be issued? Please put answer of this question in the chat box. Dear students, what is the question? The question says that what is the amount of the capital investment beyond which the company is required to issue new equity share capital. Suppose the company wants to make capital investment of 10,000. Then 60% of 10,000 comes to 6,000. 60% of 10,000 comes to 6,000. So new issue is not required to be made. Why? Because 6,000 is within 60,000. Suppose we want to make investment, suppose capital investment of 50,000. Again 60% of 50,000 comes to 30,000. 30,000 is within 60,000. So again there is no capital, there is no new issue is required to be made because this 30,000 is within 60,000. Suppose the company is required to make capital investment of, just randomly I am taking 4,50,000. Then 4,50,000 into 0.6, that comes to 2,70,000. So 2,70,000 is exceeding 60,000. So new investment is required to be made. That is what we understand. Now listen carefully. As a company, I have retained earning of 60,000. We understand that say we want to know what is the amount of the capital investment beyond which I have to make new issue. So when the capital investment is of such an amount, capital investment is of such an amount that say the equity component investment is 60,000, at that time my retained earning would be exhausted, and beyond that the company does not have a choice but to issue the new equity share capital. That is 60,000 divided by zero point 0.6, that comes to 1 lakh. So when the capital investment is 1 lakh, my retained earning is getting exhausted. After that, even I want, for example, only 5,000. Then for equity component of 3,000, I have to go for the new issue. So answer of the question is rupees 1 lakh. It is calculated as 60,000 divided by zero point 0.6. So write down with paragraph. That is answer for the fourth question. Write down. Amount of capital investment beyond which new equity share capital new equity share capital is required to be issued, full stop, in bracket write down, because retained earning is exhausted. Bracket over. Dear students, answer will be calculated as retained earning divided by weight of equity. Retained earning is 60,000 divided by zero point 0.6. That comes to rupees 1 lakh. So when the capital investment is exceeding 1 lakh, beyond that say you have to issue the new equity share capital, and till that point of time you would be having retained earning to finance the equity component of the expansion. Answer of question number 5. Calculate the amount of the capital investment beyond which weighted average cost of capital will change. Please give answer of this question in the chat box. Dear students, the answer won't change. The answer will remain same. 1 lakh. See, we have to understand like this, that weighted average cost of capital is calculated as cost of retained earning into weight of retained earning plus cost of debt into weight of debt, till the time we have the retained earning. Beyond that, what will happen? It is cost of equity into weight of equity plus cost of debt into weight of debt. So every time in calculation of the weighted average cost of capital, this component is going to remain same. This component is going to remain same. Weight of retained earning will be replaced with the weight of equity. So that is going to remain same 0.6 only. The only thing which changes is, instead of like 20 percentage, this will be 22 percentage. And because of this only, the weighted average cost of capital will change. And we know that say beyond capital investment of rupees 1 lakh, we do not have the retained earning and we have to go for the new issue of equity share capital. So beyond 1 lakh, weighted average cost of capital will change. Write an answer for the fifth question. Answer for this question will remain same as rupees 1 lakh. Full stop. Write on further in that. Once retained earning is exhausted, comma, the company is required to issue new equity share capital and with that WACC, weighted average cost of capital, will change. So dear students, we can have a working like this. Only for understanding purpose I am dictating this additional thing to you, that up to 1 lakh cost of retained earning into weight of retained earning, cost of debt into weight of debt. So this is 20 into zero point 0.6 plus 6 into, sorry, 9 into zero point 0.4. So in that case it is 12 plus 3.6, that comes to 15.6. Beyond rupees 1 lakh, we will have cost of equity into weight of equity, cost of debt into weight of debt. So 22 into zero point 0.6, 9 into zero point 0.4. So 22 into zero point 0.6, that is 13.20 plus 3.6, 16.80. Please write an answer. Let us have the revision of the entire question. In the first part of the question says that say compute the cost of debt financing. So in that case, it is rate of interest into 1 minus T. Why? Because say there is no premium, no discount, no flotation cost. Then the question says that say compute the weighted average cost of capital for project A. Project A requires an amount of rupees 1 lakh. We have the optimum capital structure in which 60% is equity and 40% is debt. So 60,000 rupees is equity share capital and say 40,000 is debt. As far as the equity financing is concerned, it is divided into two parts. Retained earning is 60,000 and new issue will be 0. Why? Because we require 60,000 rupees of the financing and the retained earning is also 60,000. Afterwards, weighted average cost of capital for project A. We know that the total 1 lakh rupees is required. Out of that, the 60,000 rupees is retained earning and 1 lakh rupees is the debt financing. So the weight or proportion is calculated. It is zero point 0.6 and zero point 0.4 multiplied with the respective cost, that is 20 and 9. So weight into cost, that is the way the overall or weighted average cost of capital is calculated. Next, weighted average cost of capital for project B. In that, say what we will do, the pattern of raising the financing. As far as the equity component is concerned, it is 1,80,000, but this time the retained earning is exhausted. So retained earning will be taken as 0 and new issue will be taken as 1,80,000. Debt financing will be 1,20,000. Again, say we compute the proportion 60-40 multiplied with the respective cost will give the weighted average or overall cost of capital. That is what we understand. Fourth part of the question is important in my opinion. The question says that say beyond which capital investment you have to issue the new equity share capital. So we understand that say when the retained earning will exhaust, when the retained earning is going to exhaust, say at 1 lakh rupee, that is 60,000 upon 0.6. And the same question is again, what is the amount of the financing beyond which the weighted average cost of capital will change? So in that case, it is 60,000 divided by 0.6. For the purpose of understanding, we have computed what is weighted average cost of capital up to 1 lakh rupee and what is the weighted average cost of capital beyond 1 lakh rupee. Right on answer.